We knew that this wasn't going to be popular, but we did it because it was the right thing to do. So it's also why we passed the Recovery Act. Now, a lot of people think that the stimulus package, the Recovery Act, if you listen on television, you'd think, well, that's all about giving banks money. That has nothing to do with the banks. The other week I saw a poll that said Americans, they don't like the Recovery Act. They just like all the individual parts of the Recovery Act. And the reason is they think the Recovery Act is for banks and auto companies. When you ask folks about what was actually in the Recovery Act, they think it's full of good ideas, like tax cuts, like infrastructure investment, like unemployment relief. That's what the Recovery Act was. It was tax cuts for small business owners, and 95% of you may not have noticed, 95% of you got a tax cut because of Harry Reid and because of the Recovery Act. 1 million people in the state of Nevada. We expanded unemployment insurance at a time when it was absolutely vital for people as they were trying to stay afloat. More than 250,000 of your members, of your neighbors. It was jobs for construction workers and jobs for cops and firemen and jobs for almost 2,000 education professionals right here in Nevada. I haven't talked to the principal, but I guarantee you we would have seen some very difficult decisions having to be made about maintaining teachers right here at Green Valley if it hadn't been for the help that Harry Reid provided last year. You would have seen some very tough choices. All of this, from the tax cuts to the unemployment insurance to the jobs, that was only possible because of Harry's leadership. And as a result, our economy is growing again. Almost 2 million Americans who'd otherwise be employed are working right now because of what Harry Reid did. We're no longer staring into an economic abyss because of what Harry Reid helped to do. Now, he and I both know that's little comfort to the 7 million Americans who lost their job in this recession. It's little comfort to homeowners who are facing foreclosure or steep declines in their home values, or to students who are having to delay their college plans because they can't afford it, or older folks who are postponing retirement. That's why I'm not going to rest. That's not why we're not done. That's why Harry Reid isn't going to rest until all of America's working again, until the dream of home ownership is secure once again, and until our economy is benefiting not just Wall Street, but benefiting hard-working Nevada families, benefiting the middle class, benefiting Americans all across this great country of ours. That's what we are aiming to do. Now, I've said before that the way I measure our economy's strength, the way you measure it, is by whether jobs and wages and incomes are growing. But the other way we measure it is by whether families have a roof over their heads and whether folks are living out that American dream of owning a home. That dream's been jeopardized in this recession for a lot of people, especially right here in Nevada. Now, part of it was, I've got to be blunt here, I've got to be honest. Part of it was because too many lenders were focused on making a quick buck instead of acting responsible. And if we're honest, too many borrowers acted irresponsibly at certain points, taking on mortgages that they knew they couldn't afford. And what happened was the regulators in Washington and legislators too often turned a blind eye to the excesses and the failures on Wall Street that fed a housing bubble. And now that that bubble's burst, it's left devastation that we're still grappling with today. Now, government has a responsibility to help deal with this problem. Government can't solve this problem alone. We've got to be honest about that. Government alone can't solve this problem. And and it shouldn't. But government can make a difference. It can't stop every foreclosure, and tax dollars shouldn't be used to reward the very irresponsible lenders and borrowers who helped bring about the housing crisis. But what we can do is help families who've done everything right stay in their homes whenever possible. What we can do is stabilize the housing market so that home values can begin rising again. And that's why we're buying up vacant homes and converting them into affordable housing, creating jobs, stemming our housing crisis, growing the local economy. That's why last year we put a tax credit worth thousands of dollars into the pocket of 1.4 million Americans to help them buy their first home. First-time home buyers credit. That's why we're offering over 1 million struggling homeowners lower monthly payments through our loan modification initiative. And that's why today, thanks to the leadership of Harry Reid, I'm announcing a $1.5 billion fund for housing finance agencies in the states that are hardest hit by this housing crisis. And that means here in Nevada. Right here in Nevada. Right here. So this fund's going to help out-of-work homeowners avoid preventable foreclosures. They'll help homeowners who owe more than their homes are worth find a way to pay their mortgages that works for both the borrowers and the lenders alike. And we'll help folks who've taken out a second mortgage modify their loans.